Hi guys, Paul
and Mike.
PABrewNews, and it is the time. See me? There's light in here. It is the time of the year to celebrate two things: Hobbit Day. It is Hobbit Day, November 22nd, Bilbo and Frodo's birthday, and it is Hobbit Day around the world. So people are doing.
Yesterday was the 21st of September.
Yes, it was. That's how the 22nd works, and it is also the time of the year where you'll see Oktoberfest, because Oktoberfest, of course, is a September event. So we have a New Trail Brewing Company's Oktoberfest. Yes, we do. 6% alcohol by volume. And they're from Williamsport, Pennsylvania. Of course, you've seen them on the channel before. If you haven't, then what have you been doing with your life? Okay, so let's get into it and crack it open and see how we do it. And we're going to pour it into the non-brand appropriate glass, but it's PA Brew, so it's good. Label out, folks.
I can't label mine out. It's like great.
Neanderthal pour, but I think it will calm itself quite quickly. But at the same time, I get a chance to look at the softest of haze, only the softest of haze. But generally, if you just take it away from the light, it looks pretty much crystal clear. But if you put it up to the light, it's a little bit of softest of haze. But it is generally crystal clear, and it is calming down quite nicely. Looks like a beautiful, and it's got that kind of soft caramel hue to it, as you would expect from many Oktoberfest. I've seen a little bit darker ones, but I've seen a little bit paler ones too. And it's not a fest beer; it is a Marzen.
It looks
So there you go.
incredibly carbonated.
I think that's why I like the fact that I poured like a Neanderthal, because it kind of got that carbonation out of there a little bit.
Mine going nuts.
Yours is going noosey poops. Mine is kind of like chill. See?
You would think I had a Sam Adams glass.
Oh. Etchy petchy glass.
They put a laser etching at the bottom to release that carbon.
It says right at the bottom of every one, it says, "What are you doing with your life?"
Remember, trooper out, folks.
Trooper out, folks. All right, well, let's get a aroma on it. Smells like
Beer.
Beer.
You know, I'll say what I'm gonna say.
Well, it's got a little bit of that lager funk. It's got a little bit of soft, like fall leaf, a little bit of caramel in it, a little roasty toasty, but it smells apropos. Let's just say that. Doesn't smell bombastic though. There's nothing about this is bombastic.
No,
how's your beer smell? Beery.
It smells like a beer.
It actually smells a little bit. This one, now that he mentions that, smells a little bit more beery. No, I know that's a generic term, but a little bit more atypical beery than actually some Oktoberfest.
It's true.
You know? Because right at that last twinge when I was sniffing it, I was like, oh, what was that? It was one of those, that is beery. Hopefully it doesn't taste as beery, so let's get into it. Cheers. Doesn't taste as berry. Room temperature, not too bad. No problems. No off flavors.
Now, and I was going to say this before we tried it, because I was like, I'll keep my mouth shut in case maybe it's something special. But, I mean, as much as I like Oktoberfest, I generally tend to find them to be all pretty much the same.
Yeah,
like they all taste about the same to me. I mean,
we did a blind taste test of Oktoberfest a while ago. It was American versus Germany. We did 4 of each, and there were subtle nuance changes and stuff.
Sure.
The funny thing is, the Sam Adams won, which I told my wife at the time, I was like, just delete the video, delete it, like close the channel. It's one of those kind of moments, but it was right. I mean. But they're not supposed to be bombastic, I guess. They're supposed to be sessionable. You're supposed to quaff them as fests and stuff.
I don't know. I've never really had a Oktoberfest that I'm just like, that's garbage. Mm-hmm. But I've also never had one that I'm like, that was awesome.
Well, I mean, technically speaking, too, if you look at like the box style, I've never had an amazing bock.
Yeah.
I've had amazing double box, but I've never had an amazing bock. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, I'm with you on that.
Maybox, Springbok, my box.
Yeah,
you know, I've just never had an amazing one.
There's just certain
but
ones
they're there just to drink with the big celebration that you're having at the time. You know
Which does kind of surprise me, because this was 6.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little heavy for an Oktoberfest.
It is, but I like that.
Yeah, I mean, usually Oktoberfest are like your standard lagers, like 4 to 4.5 usually. Like they're not because you're pounding them.
There is a toasted bready quality to this,
and
not a burnt quality, but a toasted quality, like a little bit brown.
It is, yeah, it is a little more
not brown bread, but browned bread.
It's a little bit more mellow on the Oktoberfest.
Bread crust is what I'm thinking of.
Like it's a little more mellow on the Oktoberfest flavor. But it's still there. It tastes very sessionable if you like beer.
I like the fact that I just got a very strong nuance of white bread crust. It was very specific. You know what I mean? It was like white bread crust. And I'm like, oh, I like that. There's not a lot of else going on. There's a soft earthiness, but it's not bombastic. I wouldn't mind. There was a hint of something that reminded me of a lemon. A very soft little hint of that when I first drank it. But again, it's not too bombastic. It's really just beer.
Yeah, it's beer. I mean, it's good, but like
it's good, but it's beer. Out of Oktoberfest though, I've had better.
Yeah,
I've had better Oktoberfest. I really like the Fest beer that Victory used to release. It had much more caramel dynamics and stuff.
You know, one of my gripes with Oktoberfest beers, and this is really such a weird gripe, is they always seem sticky to me.
Sticky?
Yeah.
Without being sticky.
Without being sticky. Like, I expect that, like, out of, like, porters and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like, the heavier, like the porters and stouts and everything. Sometimes they feel a little, like... But, you know, I'm always like, yeah, it's like, you know... Kind of got that caramel kind of stuff. Like, those hints and everything. And, like, it makes kind of sense to me. Oktoberfest always just tastes like a kicked up lager, but I'm like, why does it always taste like I don't get enough caramel or enough, I don't know, but to make it feel so in my mouth.
There are nuances of caramel.
Yeah, they're like they're usually light, but it's never like I'm not.
I kind of see what you're trying to say.
Yeah,
there, you know?
I'm describing it very poorly, I think. But...
No, but I get it. But here's the thing: is like the style Marzen. Keller's Marzen is amazing, and I can drink that all year round. But it has way more dynamic than this, but it's also smoked malt, so you have to give it a little bit of a grain of salt there, but it still has way better earthy notes and things like that. So this is still, I would say this is extremely approachable and extremely easy drinking, though.
Oh, it's incredibly easy drinking. I mean, and
it hides the ABV amazingly well.
Yeah, and you know, it is kind of funny because usually, because it doesn't have any strong flavors in it. And
the flavors I do get are pleasant.
Yeah, and not that this is an incredibly high ABV, but it's 6%, and with as light as the flavors are in it, I am kind of surprised that you don't taste a little bit more of that alcohol heat.
Yeah, since it's a very fresh beer as well.
Yeah. I will say though, right before you said that, I did get like a little nip of the heat, but it's very well covered.
No, it's nice. I mean, honestly, for an Oktoberfest, it's non-offensive. It's easy drinking. It hides the ABV. I would call it a little, because it's not bombastic and it's not giving me exactly what I expect and exactly what I've had in other ways. I would say it's slightly below textbook, but at the same time, if you're making a textbook Oktoberfest, it's going to come out kind of like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if I went to a place and ordered an Oktoberfest beer for the celebration aspect, like, hey, it's Oktoberfest, like, give me the new trail, and I got this, I'd be like, that's good, it's fine, nailed it.
I would say giving it, and I'm not shitting out on the beer, it's not a Yinling. It's better than Yinling for me. It's one of those kind of deals. It's warm temperature right now. It's giving it's all its muster, and I still think it's okay. It's a little bit on the blander side. So I'm not going to give it the 7.5 textbook solid score, but I will give it a 7. A 7 out of 10. A little bit lackluster on the textbook, but still in that kind of quality, in that kind of like textbook quality, very drinkable. It's tasty for what it is. Yeah. Beer.
I agree with you. I would say 7 as well. I think, you know, a lot of people talk about the Yingling Oktoberfest, and you just brought it up. I actually think the Yingling Oktoberfest is incredibly overrated.
Yeah.
It actually makes my stomach cramp up. I don't know what it is.
One of the worst Oktoberfest from beers that I normally like was Vorsteiner. I told the guy the one time at the Vorsteiner stand when I went to this one thing that the Oktoberfest was an insult to your company. It was so bad. I just hated it. I'm a big Vorsteiner Dunkel fan. And I had a lot of glasses of fresh Vorsteiner, the regular light Vorsteiner in Germany, and it was just amazing. But the Oktoberfest I really didn't like at all. But this one, it's perfectly fine. It's I would say any score between 6 and 7 would be apropos for this.
Yep.
Yeah, that kind of gradient.
Completely agree with you.
Yeah, but whatever, man. That's what it is. It's supposed to be crushed on to celebrate the season and the style, and it is the first of the autumnal season is upon us. So that is also another good reason to celebrate.
It is incredibly drinkable.
It is. I mean, I could just kill that whole 4-pack.
You can just drink this down. if you like any kind of just regular kind of beer
this would be
taste.
a great. I mean, not spitting on it, so by saying this, but this would be a great chug challenge beer.
Yeah,
this is what you would.
Slightly higher than on the ABV again, which is kind of impressive.
It is very impressive. It burps nice. There's a lot of you get more of that floral tonality on the burp than you do actually in the beer, but it does show you the hops are present in the beer. I mean, there is a hint of a lemon or a lemongrass shooting through the middle of the beer when it comes out now and again. Very subtle. I mean, for a 6 to 7% of an overall 6 to 7 out of 10 beer, we have talked about this for quite a long time.
Even a slight bit of lacing.
And a slight bit of lacing. Now, mine is deader than the hookers in my basement, but I did pour it like a Neanderthal. So, but if you pour it correctly, it'll have a nice, firm carbonation and give you a little bit of lacing. So there you go.
Sticking around.
Head sticking around.
It's kind of what.
Well, this has been Paul
and Mike.
PABrewNews. We're gonna come back with another New Trail beer. The double Broken Heel, their regular Broken Heel, is not really my favorite at all. I always consider their mainstays a little bit lacking, but we'll get back to that on the next review. So, cheers.
Cheers.
Watch that finger. Here it comes. Do-do-do.